at the Concours Buffet at Siebken's Resort here in Elkhart Lake. The Concours is taking place just on the other side of these buildings. There are about 50 or 60 vintage and classic and historic race cars that are lined up in the street that's been blocked off for the purpose. At the buffet is offered in honor of the participants, the owners and drivers and sponsors of the cars that are going to be running at the circuit tomorrow and Sunday. The people gathered here include Mr. Joe Marchetti, who is the organizer and is responsible for bringing the Chicago Historic Races to Road America. We'll be talking to him at the track tomorrow on Saturday. This is a 1966 Ferrari Dino, a factory racing car. Has a V6 engine in it, 2 liters. The car is owned by Martin Tegans from Dallas, Texas. This is a 1953 Bandini. It's a 750cc sports racer. It's an Italian National 750 Formula open wheel. 93 horsepower, 8,500 RPM. Has alloy bodywork and oval tube chassis. 4-speed with reverse. The owner is John Mays, Chicago, Illinois. The car you're seeing now is a 1967 Cheetah. This is a car that was campaigned on the West Coast. Started out mainly for drag racing, but a few venturous people have converted it over to road racing. It has a 5,400 cubic centimeter Chevrolet V8 engine. That's a 327 cubic inch. It's a very unique car, very lightweight with high horsepower. Okay. An AC Cobra powered by Ford. This car it's a 1964 Ford Cobra. It is one of the early Cobras with a 289 cubic inch Ford engine in it. Court Whitlock is standing here with his Ferrari. Court, would you tell us a little about the car and some of the history?
This is the only Barchetta that is made like a little boat, roadster of this type. This is a 195S made in 1950. It was Ferrari's 14th model. It didn't really race until I bought it in 1980. And since that time, I've driven it in many vintage events, the most wonderful of which was the Mille Miglia in Italy, the 1,000-mile race in Italy. And in that, we were with Joe Marchetti's team, the Challenge of America, and we did very well in that. No breakdowns, ran flawlessly.
I read about that in Auto Week,
right?
Or in Road and Track, I believe.
Absolutely. It's a good race. It's going to be run again in '86, but our experience was so great the first time, I think we shouldn't do it again.
That's right. That's right. Did you tell us the displacement of the car?
This is 2.3 liters.
Okay.
It's a V12, 6 carburetors, and a 5-speed crash box, no synchro mash. It's very vintage type car, skinny wheels, very fragile little
handle?
thing. Handles like a vintage car.
Okay.
It's a man's car.
Right. What's your competition like, and how do you feel you'll be going to be doing this weekend?
We're in vintage racing in competition with such a varied field of cars that we have to pick out someone we think we can beat within our group and race like hell.
Right. This is one of the real special cars that's going to be running here at Road America this weekend. It's sponsored by Holman-Moody team, as we can see, and we've got some of the experts of the car here, and they're going to introduce themselves and tell us a little about the car.
This is Lee Hollman, the second generation from Holman-Moody. And Lee, why don't you introduce this car and the folks who are here representing Holman-Moody and Holman Automotive?
Basically, this is Steve Meredith and Jimmy Tucker, who was the project manager on the car this time, and previously he was the engine builder for the car. And this is one of the cars that we originally raced here in 1967 with Mary Andretti driving. And it was a Ford Holman-Moody project, a completely unique car with a unique engine. It had a Holman-Moody 377 cubic inch Windsor base engine before Ford ever produced an engine that size. With the Gurney Westlake heads, we had fuel injection then, and we have basically tried to duplicate the effort we made with Mary Andretti in 1967. We tried to put the car back like it was. We had some problems. We couldn't duplicate the fuel injection. We couldn't find a unit to use. On this one we have the Weber carburetors, but we did go in with the 377 cubic inch Windsor engine, which Jimmy Tucker built for us. We went back with the chassis as close to original as we could. This car was kind of difficult to work on because there was only one of them. There's a lot of McLarens around, and you can get the body on a McLaren because they produce so many of them, but this car is totally unique.
How did it get the name Honker?
My dad used to be called Honker on the Mexican road race in 1952 and 53 with the Lincolns, and this was Honker too. It was sort of a nickname that they gave my father, John Holman. And basically what we have tried to do is put a little bit of history back up here at Elkhart Lake, because this is the first race for the restored car, and it was the first race for the original car. And we've tried to put it back together. Mr. Higgins, of course, bought the car and came to us and asked us to restore it for his company, Inmac. And we did what we could to put it back in the same condition Mary Andretti had it in when he came out the first time. There are a few changes because Harold Higgins is a lot taller than that little bitty Mary Andretti.
Right.
But this is a bit of history because we had this car had a unique chassis. It had a unique suspension for its time. It was ahead of its time. It had a unique engine before Ford Motor Company ever produced that engine. And it consequently needed some sorting out, that because of Ford's racing program and racing budget, it never got the chance to sort it out. It was one of these cars that we came out with right as Ford was getting out of racing and changing their minds, so we never really got to see the potential the car could really produce. And with Mr. Higgins' help, we may see a chance to develop the car a little bit further. We may see some times quicker than Mario could produce.
That's great. You all ready to run up there? What are your thoughts for the coming weekend?
Oh, we're ready to run. We've been sorting the car out today. This is the first time on the track for the restored car. As Lee Hollman was telling us, the first time the car ever was on the track was at Road America with Mario Andretti driving. And we've somewhat recreated that event also by having the car in its first sorting out exercise here again 18 years later. We're going through the same teething problems that he did. That was not intentional, but we're working those things out just as they did 18 years ago.
Do you care to give us a little ballpark on the cost of this restoration versus the original car?
I don't know what the original car cost, but this has been a whopper.
That's a detail. I'm talking concept. We're worried about detail.
The engine development, as Lee told us, was done by Jimmy Tucker. Jimmy had developed the original engine for this car. The 377 cubic inch engine we had developed again to recreate a bit of history.
I'm with Dave Kettler, who's a worker in the SCCA here at Road America for the Chicago Historic Races. Dave, why don't you take a second and describe what you do here at the track?
Okay, this event is unlike a typical SCCA event in some respects. I'm classified or listed on the program as a chief or technical inspector here, and our responsibility in normal SCCA events is to ensure that automobiles are safe to compete on the track. In this event, the rules and the regulations are somewhat different. Basically what we do here is make sure that a car is in relatively safe condition before it goes out on the track. That also does include touring cars. A normal person on the street that would want to bring their Datsun 240Z in, Mercedes, BMW, whatever they may have. It's a matter of us going through and making sure that seat mountings are correctly installed, person has fire extinguishers, that sort of thing. It's a real interesting experience here this weekend, seeing all kinds of different cars from all areas of the country. In fact, I know of cars that have been specially shipped here from England for this event, and that certainly presents some interesting challenges, John.
Okay, Dave, as a special interest to the workers, I understand that once in a while you get a chance to ride around the track in a race car, and I understand that this morning you had a chance to go around 2 laps in the Cobra 427 Coupe. Would you give me a little insight on how that was?
That's right, John. I did have a real interesting experience this morning. I was able to ride in 3 different cars. I was able to ride in an open coupe 427 Cobra, also blue in color, and I also had an opportunity to ride in this closed coupe 427 Cobra. And the driver of the car was Bob Bondurant, who's certainly got a lot of fame in racing, and particularly in Cobras. Good morning. I'm wondering if you'd like to step into this for a minute? Bob, my name is Dave Kettler. You gave me a ride this morning in this car.
I remember.
Okay, I do remember real well too, and I'm sure I'm going to remember this for some period of time. Once again, I would like to thank you very much from, I guess, behalf of all the workers here at Road America.
Well, thank you.
Certainly.
I enjoy being back here, and this is one of the most beautiful race courses in this country for sure. Love it.
Fantastic. We do too. I guess there are people that don't get the opportunity to travel as much as you do, and that certainly comes as a high compliment.
Well, thank you.
Very good.
Another thing too, the people back here are very nice. All the workers, the people, everyone around here. It's really a nice atmosphere. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. I'm glad to have that feedback. And I guess this is something too often that I guess at least tech inspectors don't get the feedback, maybe even that the corner workers do. So this is something that comes real good.
It's neat for you guys to get out and go for a ride around too.
It really gives you an appreciation of what it's like out there. I can't express it anymore. It's really, really something.
Great.
Really a dream of a lifetime.
I enjoyed taking you for a ride.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Bob, I'd like to ask you a couple questions here now.
Sure.
With your driver's school and all the publicity and everything, I assume you like to race in the cars too.
Oh, I love it.
And I was wondering if you could give us a little background on some of the cars that you're involved in here in the vintage races, some of those cars.
Okay. Normally what I drive is the regular Cobra Daytona Coupe, the 289, the number 5 car. We won the World Manufacturers Championship with that car. And then Craig Sutherland bought the Cobra Daytona 427 Super Coupe and put that all together, and I drove that to Kansas City and we won there. And this is my second time in the car, so we're kind of really getting used to the car, but it's a lot of fun.
You're getting it sorted out. Are there any changes from the factory racing car or the factory car that it was built for, or what?
Well, it was never completed, so they completed it, and this is the way it is. We're really kind of sorting it out and going along. It's a good car. It's fun to drive. It's quick.
How many of the Cobra Coupes are there running now?
Well, there were 6 that were built, and then the 427s makes 7. Of all the 6, there's only one that runs constantly or pretty consistently, and George has got that one, the 289 coupe, number 5 coupe. You'll see it up the road here. After talking to him about maybe driving that as well. It's fun. I love to drive.
You love it.
And I love operating my school, and it's neat to put people through the school and teach them how to drive. They learn a neat learning experience for themselves as well as just learning to drive.
The school itself certainly helps out the drivers. They want to race their cars, but they may not have the skills. And without your school, there may be a lot of cars that may not look as nice after a few laps?
Well, it makes me feel good inside because I see a lot of the people that are racing the vintage cars are a lot of my graduates. And Craig Sutherland's one of them, and it's kind of neat driving for him, too. It's really,
Bob,
really
thank you very much. It's a pleasure to talk with you. Have fun.
Thank you. You too.
Is this a Maserati right here? What is
Today, now that we're all done. Well, I think it was really exciting. It was my first trip out. I had never done it before in Iowa in the wars. And yeah, that's why we started us got together and said, let's try it. That's how it started.
It was a day off day. It was early in the morning and it was cloudy and overcast, so we forgot it all after we had some sour red stuff on it.
Yeah, Cat and Shirley. I had not fished before. I had fished. And so it was all new to them. And they all had fish and they were very excited. They didn't care what size or what kind. But I had wanted something a little larger.
Michigan. Jackson, former racer, and been racing 83 and 84 with the Chicago Historic Racing Association. 61 is a 1966 Corvette Roadster, rainbow in color, entered by vintage vendors, and driven by Dennis Show. Ontario, Canada. 1965 Corvette Roadster, orange in color. 350, 8 cylinders. From Alexandria, Tennessee, driven by David Rex.
No, that's what Mary got.
Number 68, driven by Craig Nelson from Orange Park, Indiana. Nelson's a graduate of the Burchill Brooks Motor Racing Company in Pennsylvania. Graduate in Chicago Historic Racing at Black Hawk Farms. Graduate in Ohio and Indianapolis Raceway Park. Blue and white number 77 Corvette is a 1963 model with the 5350 displacement V8. Entered by Astro Products Incorporated, driven by Tom McIntyre out of Burbank, California.
This car here is a 1957 Austin Healey 106, and it has been fully restored. It has a tricarb engine with 3 Weber carburetors. We'll be talking to the driver and the owner in just a minute. Talking with Dan Pendergraft here at the concours for Chicago Historic Races. Dan is going to tell us a little bit about the car.
Well, the car is from England. It was in restoration for about 10 years, and what they did, they found actual competition factory parts. And a friend of mine, Phil Coombs, who owns a 3000 down here, which is a Sebring car, went over and bought this car. Then he came back and he showed me a videotape on it. And what he did then, he went back, he found that car, and he came back and said, I can't keep them both. He says, get into racing. Pick a car. So I like the red one, so I bought the red one.
Okay, when did you get the car?
I got the car about 4 months ago. Came over on a boat. We got 3 of them. We got a MGA twin cam, which was a Bob Oldoff car, which he campaigned over there, and then the 3000, which was also a Bob Oldoff car, and this one. So we got 3 of them, and there's 6 of us. We're back here for the Midwest campaign.
I understand that this engine is one of the first 6-port engines that was made by the Healeys for racing. This engine also has the 3 Weber carburetors, which was competed in with the Austin Healey rally cars in the late 50s and early 60s. Are you going to be running this tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to run tomorrow. We're going to run in Vintage Class C, I guess it is.
Right.
And there's about 4 race classes in our group, so it should be interesting out there. It's a great-looking course.
How's the car running, Dan?
The car's running real well. Real well. As a matter of fact, we came down today. We paraded down here, and everybody was like lagging back and then hitting it, you know. So
good.
I think everybody's ready. We're excited about it.
That's good. Nice talking to you. Have a good day then.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And it's got like your changing, sliding block rear suspension, and all that stuff, and adjustable up there. I got Joe.
Keep your leg over here. Right, well done. Yeah, that's okay. Take her in.
To Joe Marchetti. Marchetti. Joe, why does this weekend of historic races become bigger and bigger every year?
Well, I think because we started with the fundamental idea that we had to have some place where the drivers felt very welcome and they felt like they were doing something for a sport. And 5 years ago, we concentrated on making the drivers feel very important and very welcome. And I think from there, we attracted more drivers, and more drivers attracted better cars, better type of drivers, better type of cars. And the sport has grown into this because also it is the time the sport should grow. I'm at the right place at the right time, at the right track.
Okay, now what does this weekend mean to you as an owner and a driver?
Well, to me, I look forward to, all year I look forward to, because it's an entire happening from the time we get here Thursday all the way to Sunday night or Monday morning when we leave. We're on one great happy high. Win, lose, or draw. I mean, it's a colorful event. You see a lot of friends. You meet new friends, and it's a happy event where not only the drivers have a good time, but the corner workers come up and say hi, and spectators. I see a lot of people I know back in Chicago. It's a good thing. It's a nice happening.
Okay, now what do you see for the future for this type of event?
Well, I think certainly this event can take the place of a lot of professional racing because it has an ambience where everybody can feel happy at and important at. Sometimes professional racing, no great as it is, there's very little concentration on who else is there except the named drivers. Here, everybody can feel like they belong, and that's the whole idea and the concept of this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Afternoon at Road America, and they're preparing for the Historic 1 qualifying. This includes cars both under and over 3-liter engines. Featured marks of Ferrari, Jaguar. Here is the early Excalibur, a Talbot Lago, Scarab, Lister Jaguar, Ferrari 250 SWBs. Sam Foster is going to tell us about his Porsche.
This Porsche is a Spider, an RS60 Spider built in 1960 by Porsche for sports racing throughout the world. It was originally bought by Ernie Erickson in Chicago. He raced the car for about 3 years, SCCA, and then it was sold and made its way through the ranks to Europe. In 1970, it was running at Brands Hatch, England, and at the British Grand Prix at Thruxton. Murray Smith, an international vintage race car driver, drove it at Monaco. It then came to this country. I purchased the car from Murray Smith about 4 years ago and started a ground-up restoration on it. We finished the restoration this spring, and we've raced the car at Palm Beach, at Sebring, and now at Road America. It's one of 12 that was made in 1960, and it qualifies in the vintage 2-liter and under category.
Explain the feeling that you get driving the car. How does it run on the track compared with some of the newer cars?
Well, it's quite a bit different. The brakes, the acceleration are there, but compared to a modern-day car with all the technological advances they've made in tires and made in braking and in engines, there is a problem of maintenance and keeping up to speed. However, once the tires are warm, the engine and the fluids are flowing, the driver's got his head on his shoulders, there's an exhilarating feeling to the past, to be passing and being passed by these limited edition vintage race cars.
What do you think of Chicago Historic Races?
This is my favorite race. There's nothing like Road America. There's nothing like the people here. Mr. Marchetti runs a beautiful show. The people in Wisconsin, in Elkhart Lake, are just the most gracious people you want to find all over the country, and we race all over the country.
Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
started off in January 47 with an MGTC and moved through various cars, a Cooper, Jap Twin, and what else? XK120s and Austin Healey 104, D-Type. Maserati 300S, 250F.
What circuits have you remember most racing?
Well, most of my motor racing was down under on the what's called the Tasman series. Although I have driven in the Le Mans 24-hour race in 1961 for Aston's. But I sort of, in serious racing, I sort of stepped out of a Formula One Brabham in December 1965 and said, that is the end of real motor racing. And then I got bitten by the bug again a few years ago to go vintage racing.
Great.
But I won 4 Formula One championships down under and a sports car championship and a Formula 2 championship. So this is, doing it the fun way now instead of the serious way.
It really is. Tell me a little about the car then, the history of the car. You said you bought it brand new?
No, I didn't. I bought
from the factory.
I bought XKD 520, which is the 20th D-Type built from the factory in September 55, and I had that car for nearly 3 years, and then moved on. And then when I decided to go vintage racing, I thought, well, what was the car I had the most fun with? And the D-Type was the car. So I tried to buy my car back. and the man who it found its way back to England, and the man who has it now wouldn't sell it. So I finished up with this one, which is 510, which is the 10th car built.
Oh, okay.
And I've owned this for 3 years.
Oh, great. Did you have to do much work to get it to
No,
shape?
it had already been restored by some people in Sydney, Australia. Yeah.
Is that where you found the car in Australia?
And that's where I found the car, and it was restored to original specification. It's exactly as the private owner cars were built by the factory. There are no mods to the car at all.
That's great. Now it has a 6-cylinder engine with 3 Weber carburetors. What is the horsepower? What are the specs on the engine?
Well, it started life as a 3.5 or a 3.442 cc engine, but it's grown to 3.8 over the years. It develops an honest 285 horsepower.
That's great.
My original car, 520, was timed at 168 miles an hour. On the electrically timed, not speedo or anything, on the straight at Bathurst in just out of Sydney.
And that was what year?
That was 56 or 57. That was.
Great. Have you been campaigning the car in vintage racing lately?
Yes, I've been running it for this is the 3rd year we've been running it in the US. Yeah.
Great.
And
Laguna Seca?
We've been from the west coast, Laguna Seca, to the east coast, Watkins Glen, and all in between. This is our first visit to Elkhart Lake.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
I'm with Tom MacArthur, and he has a Lister Jaguar here, and he's going to tell us a little about the history and about the car.
Well, the car is one of 18 that was made by Brian Lister Light Engineering in Cambridge, England. Brian Lister was the son of the original founders of the company, and in the early 50s he became interested in sports racing cars, and he developed the Lister Jaguar actually in 1957, the first one, and the car had a great deal of success. It really took over where the D-Type, which is the car that you just looked at a moment ago, when the D-Type Jaguar began becoming obsolete, the Lister took over where it ended, and this chassis of this car is really a great deal more sophisticated than the D-Type. Primarily, I'm from Milwaukee. I've run most of the Midwest races, but I stick pretty much in this area.
Great. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Overall winner of Historic 1. Oh boy, great race.
Hot? Real hot, yeah. Where's the beer?
Caught him down in turn 12 and went right inside of him, and only was able to beat him by about 30 feet.
What was the most exciting part, or where did you feel that you were really going the best?
I think I had the best point because I was pushing him the whole event. I would have rather been there until the last lap than him pushing me for all the laps.
That's right.
But
Great,
they're two very close cars. Thank you very much.
It's a great day for Austin Healey's, just like it was back 18, 20 years ago when we were in it.
Well, it felt real good. I was real happy to be in that car. It performed flawlessly, overheated a little bit, but it just kept on pulling and pushing and sliding predictably, and just felt terrific.
How did you feel about your competition? Did you have things pretty well in hand all the way?
Well, there's a lot of fast guys in front of me. Those SWBs, I think they found some horsepower overnight, and that Allard's got enough horsepower for 2 Healeys. But it was fun chasing those guys around and following them through the turn. But when it comes right down to it, it's hard to substitute for horsepower, and they had it.
Yes,
but it was a real fun event.
Great.
The track was pretty slippery. It seems like it was more slippery today than yesterday. Maybe that's the heat and the oil soaking through, but it felt pretty slippery out there.
Do you like Road America and the track?
It's a wonderful track. I love it. I love it. The Healey slides better in this track than any place else. Hey, John! What took you so long? Here you go, buddy.
I went down and turned it off, and then it wouldn't start.
Oh, really? Congratulations,
Thank
John.
you.
It was a terrific race.
Thank you.
Very
Enjoyed
good.
it. It was a lot of fun.
Very good. Do you have any comments on the competition?
Oh, it was super competition.
How was the track?
Very nice, very nice. Wasn't slick anywhere that I noticed. Yeah, I might have been following you. No, it was nice.
Great run.
Yeah.
Car run all right?
Very well, very well. Makes a lot of noise.
Well, you didn't give me turn one, John, but
no, a little later on.
You did catch up.
Yes.
You two are having fun out there.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
We did. When you consider I have almost 3 times his horsepower in this thing.
Oh, boy. Going through the carousel, those wheels of yours are just twisted over in the camera. Those wheels.
I know.
I kept thinking he's got to go pretty soon. He's got to slide pretty soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can we interrupt for footage of you? We were hoping to stand by your car.
Thank you. Oh, boy. Excuse me. Oh, great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Can I do it again? Once more. Trouble waiting. Give him a kiss again, girls.
Okay, now over here for another one.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Wow. Look at that.
All right.
Oh, boy. Hey, that's great. That's terrific.
Little applause for that. Hey.
I'll hold at least 6 cans. Good show. Wonderful.
John Harden, historic 1, Cadillac Allard.
Okay. All right. Is that all it is? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Phil Coombs has just finished winning his class in the historic 1 races here this afternoon at Road America. Phil has an Austin Healey. I'd like to have him give us some insight about the car, its history, and tell us a little bit about the race.
Well, the Austin Healey 3000 that you see here is a 1963 car that was prepared by the Donald Healey Motor Works. They prepared this car to run one specific race, which was the Sebring 12-hour endurance race back in 1963. It's a very special car. They built 3 of them that year. 2 of them ran the race. It's an all-alloy bodied car. The interior panels of the bulkheads, etc., are alloy. The head is an alloy head, which takes about 35 pounds of weight off the front end of the car, which makes the handle considerably better, lowers the center of gravity. The car came equipped with dual power disc brakes, front and rear. It's reputed to be the lightest Healey ever made, big Healey. Horsepower is around 200 horsepower. It sports 3 double-throat Weber carburetors, 45 DCOEs, header systems, etc. The car has been extensively modified and strengthened throughout the frame. At Sebring, it took 4th in its class behind 3 prototype Ferraris, and it finished 12th overall behind the Phil Hill Ken Miles 289 Cobra. And today here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, it came in 1st in its class, and just proving that it's hard to keep a good Healey down. They just keep right on running. It's quite a car.
Do you care to share with us any of your thoughts through the race this afternoon?
Yeah, when's that temperature gauge gonna either the motor's gonna blow up or the temperature gauge was gonna cool off. It was a wonderful ride. The track felt a little bit slippery for me, but the car handle is very neutral. Going through the turns, it slides very predictable. There's one Ferrari in every crowd. Slides very predictably. If you make a mistake, it doesn't bite you. It's very controllable. The car has a lot of power. It's got a close ratio gearbox, so that 3rd to 4th gear shift is very strong. It's very usable. Limited slip rear end. All these things were factory works parts. So the race today just worked out perfectly.
Okay, great. Thanks, Phil. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Follmer.
Good, thank
Very
you
good
very
run. How was it out there? How was the track?
It's warm out there, but everything's looking in pretty good shape. You know, just a hot day.
Yeah.
Glad it was only 6 laps.
Yeah.